Chapter 821, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort really did it. Although they did not view Wei Hunyun's behavior positively, they had to recognize Wei Hunyun's accomplishments in alchemy. Among the second-rank pills, the refinement of the jade condensing pill is already extremely difficult, which means that as long as Wei Hunyun continues to work, Wei Hunyun is not far from breaking through to become a third-rank alchemist. When everyone under the high platform stage heard about these pills, their eyes reflected doubt. They were all second-rank pills, so they didn't know how to compare them for the results. Fortunately, there were some alchemists from Lingyin Academy in the audience, and they immediately explained the difference between the three pills. Everyone's eyes stayed on Wei Hunyun. Currently, Wei Hunyun's performance is the best. Who cares about the jade condensing pill? The pill made by Hongzhuang will be the best, Xia Jiqing said firmly. She believed that Hongzhuang would definitely defeat Wei Hunyun, this despicable villain. Seeing Xia Jiqing's blind worship, Zhang Yunfeng smiled helplessly, but her eyebrows reflected a little worry. If Hongzhuang's pill furnace hadn't exploded, then it would be okay to say this. I'm just worried that the explosion of her pill furnace will have an impact on the pill. As Zhang Yunfeng's voice fell, Gong Shaoqing and others' mood fell a bit heavier. They had also thought of this problem, but they still had a glimmer of hope in their hearts. Wei Hunyun sneered at Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang could finish refining the pill if the furnace exploded. He was not intimidated. Bailey Hongzhuang's words could not affect him at all. This Wei Hunyun is really an idiot. Xiao He was looking at Wei Hunyun as if he was seeing an idiot. He had seen self-delusion, but he had never seen such blind self-delusion. He thinks that everyone is like him when he can't do it himself, but he won't be able to continue lying to himself in a little while. Xiao Bai raised his eyebrows, waiting for when this guy would fall into complete despair. Chu Jiao and the other judges stood in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance was too surprising. It's hard to judge. While Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in alchemy has won their approval, they are also worried. Will the pills saved by Bailey Hongzhuang in this situation be ruined? As alchemists, they understand what happens in an explosion. Although what Bailey Hongzhuang did is theoretically feasible, it is very difficult to actually do it. Huan Chuyo's hands gradually folded. All this depends on Bailey Hongzhuang. Compared to everyone's nervousness, Bailey Hongzhuang was very indifferent. With a small smile on the corners of her lips, she handed the white porcelain bottle to Chu Jiao. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was so confident, Chu Jiao couldn't help but wonder, is there really no problem with Bailey Hongzhuang's medicine pill? However, when Chu Jiao opened the white porcelain bottle, a refreshing medicinal fragrance wafted out, filling her nose. Looking within, the pill was round and full without a single flaw. However, this is only the surface appearance, and the internal qualities are unknown. However, as the Chu Jiao and other two checked more closely, the three of them looked at each other with a hint of amazement in their eyes. Second-rank medicinal pill, heaven-mending pill. The pill is round with uniform color and is flawless. The last comment, flawless, showed the shock of Chu Jiao and the other two. Bailey Hongzhuang actually did it. Chapter 822, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. Kanglin Academy, win. As Chu Jiao's voice fell, the eyes of everyone present reflected shock. Xia Jiqing gave Bai Junyu a high five, her delicate face full of excitement. I knew Hongzhuang would be able to do it. At this moment even Gong Shaoqing's unchanging iceberg face showed a smile too. Bailey Hongzhuang had created a miracle. Lu Huayan clenched his hands tightly, his eyes shining brightly. Bailey Hongzhuang is really fighting for Kanglin Academy. Huan Chuyu slammed his fist on the table. He has not been so excited for many years. Bailey Hongzhuang is really amazing. Lu Qingyue also had a shocked expression on her face. She was no stranger to the heaven-mending pill. She had heard Master mention it before, but Master did not have a recipe for the heaven-mending pill. Unexpectedly, Bailey Hongzhuang not only has the pill recipe, but also refined it. The Xianyuan pill she refined was only a middle-level second-rank pill, and Bailey Hongzhuang's was close to a third-rank pill. All along, She thought that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent was similar to hers, but now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent is much better than hers. Both her age and alchemy is better than her, and this gap is almost impossible to bridge. However, the most important thing is that the difficulty of the heaven-mending pill is higher than that of the jade condensing pill. This means that they won the alchemy competition. Kanglin Academy has won. Kanglin Academy, which had failed twice in a row, won. A smile appeared on Lu Qinyue's face. She was happy for the school's achievements, but her heart still felt a trace of loss. Impossible. Wei Hanyan's face changed suddenly. It's impossible. Under such circumstances, it is impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to protect the integrity of the pill. You must be mistaken. He absolutely could not accept this result. Hearing Wei Hanyan's words, Lin Hao's face took on a hint of coldness and said in a cold voice, "Are you questioning our judgment?" Even if he didn't believe it, he couldn't question the three alchemy masters. In this alchemy competition, the first place goes to Kanglin Academy's Bailey Hongzhuang. Cui Haoyan and others shouted with happy smiles on their faces. Kanglin Academy won. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongshi's faces were really ugly. They had been working out a foolproof strategy for so long, but they lost. Huan Chuyu glanced at Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongshi with a bright smile and said, "Principal Jian, I hope you can find out who is behind this." Hearing this, Jian Qingqiu glanced at Huan Chuyu gloomily, and for the sake of face, he could only say, "Don't worry, I will definitely find this person. Then I will be relieved." Huan Chuyu chuckled and walked towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Beihai Academy ended up having wasted their effort. "Hongzhuang, you're amazing." Xia Jiqing and the others rushed towards Bailey Hongzhuang. This alchemy competition win is all thanks to Bailey Hongzhuang's ability save the day. The corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips rippled with a bright and sunny smile. She originally did not intend to participate in the alchemy competition, but by chance she took first place in the alchemy competition. The scene just now was so thrilling that our hearts were in our throats. "Ha," Cui Haoyan said with a smile. "Very impressive," Gong Shaoqing also said. Wei Hanyun looked at Bailey Hongzhuang indignantly, his heart unusually resentful, but the result had already been announced and there was nothing he could do. Chapter 823, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort News, Mo Yinjue. Feeling Wei Hanyun's resentful glare, Bailey Hongzhuang shifted her gaze. She always felt that there was something fishy about this Wei Hanyun's appearance. Previously they had never heard that Beihai Academy had a top person like this, but he suddenly appeared today and was so well prepared. There was something fishy about him. However, so far she had not yet found any evidence. Fortunately, everything was not destroyed by Wei Hanyun's appearance. At that moment, Mo Yinjue also came to Bailey Hongzhuang and said with a smile, "Hongzhuang, congratulations." Seeing Mo Yinjue appear, Xia Jiqing's voice rang out before Bailey Hongshu could reply. "Young Master Mo, you're too late. You didn't see how impressive Hongzhuang's performance was." Xia Jiqing's face was filled with regret. She sighed with admiration. The scenes in the alchemy competition just now were absolutely wonderful. Hearing this, Mo Yinjue smiled faintly with a little regret in his expression. "I had some things to do, so I only could come here now, but I am also very happy to know the result." The next moment, Mo Yinjue handed a note to Bailey Hongzhuang, and said with a faint smile, "I think you might need this." Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Mo Yinjue's determined, handsome face, and a look of surprise appeared in her eyes. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang saw what was written in the note, her expression changed. "Thank you. Many thanks." Bailey Hongzhuang raised the note in her hand with a delighted smile on her face. Mo Yinjue's smile is still the same, his eyes still bottomless, deep black holes, but the smile on his handsome face was very charming. "Everyone, please don't leave yet, I have something to say." Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly raised her voice, and everyone's eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang wondering what she was doing. Xia Jiqing and the others were puzzled. They didn't know what was written on the note that Mo Yinjue handed to Bailey Hongzhuang. The alchemy competition was over, What else did Hongzhuang have to announce? The eyes of Huan Chuyu and others also fell on Bailey Hongzhuang, but compared to the surprise of the others, Huan Chuyu seemed very indifferent. Since Bailey Hongzhuang came to study at Kanglin Academy, she has never done anything out of line. He believed that Bailey Hongzhuang must have her reasons for doing this now. Bailey Hongzhuang spared a glance for Wei Hanyun, who couldn't help but be stunned, his heart faintly filled with a bad premonition. It's just that he has hidden everything very well and doesn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang can find out exactly what happened. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with evil eyes. They felt that this girl was too outstanding. Whether it is in the cultivator competition or the alchemy competition, Bailey Hongzhuang's performance is too outstanding, which is not a good thing for them. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly stopped everyone. Could it be that she is being arrogant? Bailey Hongzhuang walked directly in front of Huan Chuyu and handed the note to him. She believed that Huan Chuyu would resolve this matter well. When Huan Chuyu saw the content on the note, his expression changed slightly, anger and dissatisfaction flashed, and when he looked at Jian Qingqiu and the two of them again, his face grew a little colder. Vice President Song, according to the information we received, Wei Hanyun doesn't seem to be a student of Beihai Academy. Chapter 824, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort uncovering the conspiracy. As Huan Chuyu's voice fell, both Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi's expressions changed. Elder Huan, what do you mean by that? Jian Qingqiu asked tentatively, but a storm surged in his heart. They kept this matter very secret, and it should have been impossible for anyone to find out. There is no such person as Wei Hanyun on the Beihai Academy team. Moreover, according to the information we have learned, Wei Hanyun seems to have previously been a student of Lingyin Academy. Huan Chuyu's voice did not have any restraint, and all the students present could hear it clearly. The expressions of the cultivators of Beihai Academy changed a bit. In their hearts they knew best that there was no such person as Wei Hanyun at Beihai Academy. In fact, the tutor greeted them last night and told them not to publicize this fact. They didn't expect it to be discovered by the people of Kanglin Academy today. Wei Hanyun studied at Lingyin Academy for only a few months before he left, so the current students may not have much of an impression of him, but I don't think it will be difficult to find witnesses. Huan Chuyu's voice was cold. Although he had always known that Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy colluded with each other, he never expected that they would use such a despicable trick in this academy exchange competition. All along, he felt that it should not be difficult to win first place in this alchemy competition with Lu Qinyue's strength. Who would have thought that there was the more powerful Wei Hanyun at Beihai Academy whom he had never heard of? It turned out that this was all just a conspiracy between Beihai Academy and Lingyin Academy. If it weren't for the appearance of Bailey Hongzhuang, then the Kanglin Academy would have really fallen short. The audience was in an uproar. One by one, astonished looks fell on the four principals. This news was so explosive that they couldn't believe it. This is impossible, right? How could Wei Hanyun not be a student of Beihai Academy? It's true that I haven't seen Wei Hanyun on the Beihai Academy team before. Could it be true? Even if it is true, it must be Beihai Academy that is up to no good. It certainly doesn't have anything to do with our academy. Song Hongxi couldn't help but look at Jian Qingqiu. Previously Jian Qingqiu had repeatedly assured him that there would be no problems, so he used Wei Hanyun. Who would have thought that this news would be found by Kanglin Academy so easily? In this way, Beihai Academy came to a difficult end. Xiao Lanmei looked at Song Hongxi, who was nervous on the high platform. A look of disgust appeared in his eyes, and he turned back to the dormitory. Because of a decision of the vice principal, the entire Beihai Academy was humiliated. Chu Jiao and the others appeared astonished. They had only felt very disgusted that Lingyin Academy had tampered with Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy furnace. Unexpectedly, Beihai Academy was even more outrageous, inviting outside help for this academy exchange competition. Xia Jiqing and others were stunned. They didn't expect the vice principal to announce such explosive news. Moreover, this news seems to have been brought by Imo Yinjuak. Does this mean that the reason Mo Yinjue had not appeared today was because he helped them investigate the origin of Wei Hanyan? Without their knowledge, Mo Yinjue had done so much for them, which was a huge favor. Chapter 825, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Because I Like You. When Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi fell silent, everyone already understood. In fact, Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi wanted to argue, but Huan Chuyu said it so convincingly, even if they had a lot of evidence, they couldn't blindly refute it. Otherwise, once exposed, their situation would be even worse. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes also fell on Mo Yinjue. It was hard to imagine that Mo Yinjue had already known everything, and even helped them to find information about Wei Hanyan. What does Mo Yinjue actually do? The fact that Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi could become the heads of their schools proves that they are not fools. If they were not completely sure, they would never have done this. But just when they had sufficient confidence, Mo Yinjue was able to find out all this information, which was not an ordinary ability. It is impossible for a mere restaurant owner to investigate all of this, which can only mean that Mo Yinjue must have many hidden secrets. Master, this Mo Yinjue is very powerful. Wei Hanyan only appeared today. It only took Mo Yinjue a short time to find out Wei Hanyan's details, which proves that there must be a lot of people behind him. Xiao He had a serious look on his face. This was proof that Mo Yinjue's information network was very good. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. It seemed that, just as she had always thought, Mo Yinjue was not a simple character. Restaurant owner should just be one of Mo Yinjue's identities. His true identity is even more unclear. It's just that she didn't understand why Mo Yinjue, who was initially a casual acquaintance, wanted to help her like this. Master, could Nangong Shoujie be the work of Mo Yinjue? Xiao Bai pondered. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was stunned for a moment, her dark phoenix eyes flashing with a bright light. What Xiao Bai said was not impossible. Judging from the attitude of Nangong Shoujie towards Mo Yinjue at the first tower, there must be something special about Mo Yinjue since Nangong Shoujie and the two people were quite afraid of him. With Mo Yinjue's strength, it should not be difficult to kill Nangong Shoujie. After all, when she first met Mo Yinjue had escaped the hands of Tun Yinmang. It's just. Mo Yinjue had no reason to kill Nangong Shoujie at all. Unless it was for her. When this idea emerged, Bailey Hongzhuang felt this is too unbelievable, this is simply not necessary, Although Bailey Hongzhuang found it unbelievable, she had a vague intuition that this matter might have been the responsibility of Mo Yinjue. In the face of Bailey Hongzhuang's scrutiny, the corners of Mo Yinjue's lips reflected a charming smile, and his coldly stern face smiled with a hint of sexiness. He was so open and generous, but it made Bailey Hongxu feel even more bewildered. Don't think too much, you just need to know that I have no ill will towards you, that's all. Mo Yinjue said slowly. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang had always been smart, and everything he has done has confused Bailey Hongzhuang, but he didn't care. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Mo Yinjue intensely, but, I don't understand. Mo Yinjue's smile deepened, he leaned over towards Bailey Hongzhuang's ear, and said, Are you sure you want to know the reason? Yes. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't hesitate, she never believed that there was help for free. Because I like you. Chapter 826, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. Do you believe it? Immediately after those words fell, Mo Yinjue had already moved back to his original place, his handsome, cold face reflected ease and indifference, as if what he had talked about earlier was about the good weather today. Bailey Hongzhuang froze and looked at Mo Yinjue in a daze. This reason. Do you believe it? Mo Yinjue asked. After thinking about it for a moment, Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. I don't believe it. Mo Yinjue said it so calmly, so she felt that she couldn't believe it. It seemed to be a joke, or perhaps Mo Yinjue said it just for to get by. Because, after Mo Yinjue stated this reason, she indeed could not continue to ask. Mo Yinjue shrugged, unsurprised by Bailey Hongzhuang's answer. His smile was still charming, but no one noticed the touch of seriousness and paranoia in Mo Yinjue's eyes. Principal Jian, Vice Principal Tsang, no matter what, you must give us an explanation on this matter. Huan Chuyo's attitude was tough. Over the years Lingyin Academy and Kanglin Academy had become more and more excessive. Although he knew about some things, he had never had any evidence. Now that he finally had the evidence, he naturally wanted to strike a blow against the arrogance of the two academies. Now that the two academies want to make Kanglin Academy lose ranking, he naturally didn't mind making the two academies suffer more. When Chu Jiao and others saw that Huan Chuyu was able to deal with Jian Qingqiu and others, they turned their attention to Bailey Hongzhuang. They were very curious about Bailey Hongzhuang. A cultivator that could possess such exquisite alchemy was a heavenly talent. Bai Jingtian and the others were obviously shocked by Wei Hanyan's matter. They only reacted after seeing the actions of Chu Jiao and the others. The biggest goal of their trip was Bailey Hongzhuang. "Bailey girl, have you joined the Alchemist Guild?" Chu Jiao asked with a smile. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw the three masters coming, they understood that the three masters must have a love for talents, and they immediately backed away. This was a great opportunity for Bailey Hongzhuang. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded lightly with a smile. "I joined the Alchemist Guild in Kanglin City." Huan Chuyu and the other three nodded slightly. It seems that Elder Huan's movements were not slow. Such talents should indeed be recruited into the Alchemist Guild earlier. Chen Yu was very optimistic about Bailey Hongzhuang and said with a smile, "Bailey girl, your attainment in alchemy is so outstanding, it would be a waste to be a cultivator. In my opinion, you might as well concentrate on learning alchemy like Qingyue. Your future prospects will be even brighter. If you do not have a tutor, I am willing to teach everything I have learned in my life." Chen Yu had not watched Bailey Hongzhuang, thinking that Huan Chuyu found such a good disciple as Lu Qingyue. At that time, he was envious. He is not young anymore and just wants to find a disciple who can inherit his mantle. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent is truly outstanding. As long as she guides her well, her future achievements will be great. As Chen Yu's voice fell, the students present all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with envy. "This is too lucky. Master Chen is famous in Qingshao country, and his alchemy is outstanding. It is said that he is not far from becoming a fifth-rank pharmacist." It was unknown how many young practitioners wanted to worship Chen Yu as their master, but Chen Yu had never accepted a disciple. Unexpectedly, when he saw Bailey Hongzhuang, he took the initiative to mention it. Chapter 827, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. I've got my eye on the Bailey girl. Bailey Hongzhuang's luck is really enviable. As long as she can become Master Chen's disciple, she will be famous in the future. Yeah, we don't have the good luck of Bailey Hongzhuang. Gu Yaoi and others' eyes flickered with a glint of envy or jealousy. If Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't grabbed their limelight in the alchemy competition, maybe the disciples of Master Chen would have been them. Wei Hanyan's face was even more ugly. This was also one of his goals. As long as he finds a famous master, his future will take a prosperous path, but now it has been snatched away by Bailey Hongzhuang. However, as soon as Chen Yu finished speaking, Lin Hao's voice rang out, "Elder Chen, it's not very kind of you to do this." Lin Hao gave Chen Yu a discontented look. He had not expected Chen Yu to move so quickly, actually wanting to take Bailey Hongzhuang as a disciple first. Like Chen Yu, he has always wanted to accept a disciple, but he had never found a suitable candidate. He likes Bailey Hongzhuang overall. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent and character are first class. He immediately accepted his fondness for a disciple, and he naturally couldn't allow her to be taken away by Chen Yu. "Bailey girl, this old guy, Chen Yu, is not as good as me. Why don't you become my disciple?" "Lin Hao, why do you like to compete with me in everything?" Chen Yu looked at Lin Hao with dissatisfaction. He finally managed to find such a good disciple, and Lin Hao wants to rob him. Absolutely impossible. What do you mean by that? This is something I've been thinking about for a while. You just spoke up a few minutes earlier than me. There was a bit of displeasure on Chen Yu's face. He turned to look at Bailey Hongzhuang again, but with a smile on his face. Don't pay attention to this old guy, girl Bailey, I'm better than this old guy. Seeing Chen Yu and Lin Hao vying against each other, the jaws of the student onlookers couldn't help but drop, their eyes filled with disbelief. What are they seeing? In the past, alchemists wanted to be disciples of Master Chen and Master Lin but couldn't. Now it turns out that it is Master Chen and Master Lin competing to be the Bailey Hongzhuang's teacher. This world is too fantastical, why are all the good things going to Bailey Hongzhuang? Xia Jiqing and the others also smiled while sighing. At Chen Yu and Lin Hao's age they were able to fight over Bailey Hongzhuang, which shows how much they value Bailey Hongzhuang. You two old fellows, I've got my eye on the Bailey girl. At this moment, Chu Jio's words stunned Chen Yu and Lin Hao. They had forgotten that Chu Jio had also been looking for a suitable disciple. The two of them had liked Chu Jio for many years, and since Chu Jio spoke up, they had no choice but to reluctantly give up. Seeing this scene, everyone who knew the inside story couldn't help laughing. Chu Jio and the three of them were usually high and mighty, but now they are competing for one apprentice. How great was Bailey Hongzhuang's face? Bailey Hongzhuang did not expect such a situation and was not even allowed to speak. Several masters had already made their own decisions. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to speak, Bai Jingtian and the others also came over. Seeing the three, including Bai Jingtian, Bailey Hongzhuang had a look of surprise in her eyes. She had never imagined that the inscription masters she saw in Wubao Pavilion would also be in Lingyin Academy today. What kind of weirdness is this? Without waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to say hello, Bai Jingtian looked at Chu Jio and other two and said, "What are you robbing? Bailey girl is really promising for the path of inscription master, alchemy is a complete waste of her talent." Bai Jingtian had a reluctant expression on his face. They came from the Wubao Pavilion specifically for Bailey Hongzhuang, but Chu Jio and the others actually wanted to take the lead in snatching Bailey Hongzhuang away. That was absolutely impossible. As Bai Jingtian's voice fell, Chu Jio and the others were also stunned. What was Bai Jingtian saying? Elder Bai, are you not mistaken? Bailey Hongzhuang is clearly a genius alchemist. What does she have to do with being an inscriptionist? Chen Jianyu looked at Bai Jingtian in confusion. How amazing was Bailey Hongzhuang's performance in the alchemy competition today? Inscription has nothing to do with it at all. Only Chu Jio vaguely understood. Previously, she felt that Bai Jingtian and the other two paid special attention to Bailey Hongzhuang. Now it seems that they really came for Bailey Hongzhuang. It's just. Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy technique is so superb. How could she be associated with the inscription technique? Is it possible that Bailey Hongzhuang can do both? When this idea came to Chu Jio's mind, she thought it was ridiculous, it was simply impossible. As a cultivator, Bailey Hongzhuang's attainment in alchemy is already extremely impressive. If Bailey Hongzhuang can also write inscriptions, there is no way in the world such a thing exists. How could I be wrong? We've been looking for Bailey girl for a few days. Bailey girl's future in inscription is definitely better than her future in alchemy. Bai Jingtian puffed up his chest, his face reflecting the hardships of life, full of seriousness and perseverance. How can an alchemist be as rare as an inscriber? The question that the three old guys couldn't figure out, Bailey Hongzhuang could actually solve in one sentence. So it was clear that Bailey Hongzhuang's attainment in inscriptions was not lower than theirs at all. What kind of talent is this? At first they found it hard to believe, but now they accepted the fact that there is such an existence in this world. Elder Bai is right, girl Bailey is definitely a genius inscriptionist. Ji Yunma also spoke out, although they normally have a good relationship with Chen Yu and the others, at a time like this, they were in the inscription master's camp. Everyone in the room was completely petrified. Who are Bai Jingtian and Ji Yunma? They are real inscription masters. Everyone in the room wants their inscriptions, but the three inscription masters rarely took action, and buying inscriptions is more difficult than buying pills. But now, they are all vying to make Bailey Hongzhuang their disciple. Who is Bailey Hongzhuang? Why does all the good luck come to Bailey Hongzhuang? My god, isn't Bailey Hongzhuang a cultivator? Why does she know how to refine pills and inscribe? A cultivator spoke out in a daze. From the conversation with Bai Jingtian and others, he was able to understand that Bailey Hongzhuang's attainments in the art of inscription is also amazing. How can there be such a strange person in this world? How can we compare to her? Inscriptionist, Bailey Hongzhuang is also an inscriptionist. I finally understand why Bailey Hongzhuang was able to take out so many inscriptions yesterday. She is an inscriptionist. With these words, everyone suddenly realized that the inscription that Shui Haolang had been showing off was actually painted by Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 829, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. This is definitely a blow. Shui Haolang, who was already hit hard, almost spat out a mouthful of blood after hearing about it. This is definitely a blow. A blatant blow. He was so proud of an inscription, but Bailey Hongzhuang was the one who made the inscription. Thanks to his previous mocking of Bailey Hongzhuang, didn't he slap his own face? He even broke everyone's trust for this inscription from Bailey Hongzhuang. As soon as he thought of this, Shui Haolang's face burned with embarrassment. In this life, he's afraid that he will never have the face to meet Bailey Hongzhuang. He had never been so humiliated. Shui Haolang didn't stay to watch the excitement, otherwise it would only allow everyone to freely make fun of him. At that moment, Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi also noticed what was happening between Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. When they heard what Bai Jingtian and others were arguing about, their faces reflected shock and dismay. The news that Bailey Hongzhuang is not only a cultivator but also an alchemist had given them a huge shock. And now the news that Bailey Hongzhuang is also an inscriptionist has come out. What was this all about? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang had already started learning while in her mother's womb? As principals of their academies, they have seen many outstanding students, but they had never seen a student as perverse as Bailey Hongzhuang. With the identity of Bai Jingtian and others, it is naturally impossible for them to lie, because there's no need. Both Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi were envious of Kanglin Academy. Originally, Kanglin Academy was already weak, but they did not expect them to recruit a talented student like Bailey Hongzhuang. Is it possible to turn the tide with the power from one person? Is this God's will? Huan Chuyu was no less surprised than Jian Qingqiu. This whole time he only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was an alchemist, but he had never heard that she had made great achievements in inscriptions. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent was hidden deeply. He couldn't even imagine what Bailey Hongzhuang's master was like. The energy and resources spent to cultivate a disciple like Bailey Hongzhuang must be enormous. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others reflected disbelief. They were so familiar with Hongzhuang but didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang was an inscriber. Although Bailey Hongzhuang's performance at the Wubao Pavilion showing that she knew about inscriptions shocked them that day, they never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang could be an inscription master. Because it's so unbelievable. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had given them so many inscriptions yesterday, they still didn't think of this. However, this unbelievable situation turned out to be true. What kind of beast is this teammate they have known for so long? The dark inky eyes flashed a strange color after the always calm Mo Yinjue found out about this. Mo Yinjue's lips curled slightly. It seemed that he constantly underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang watched the several seniors arguing over her, and a bit of helplessness surfaced on her charming face. Seniors. As soon as Bailey Hongzhuang spoke up, the four, including Bai Jingtian, stopped arguing and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. They wanted to know what Bailey Hongzhuang's thoughts were. Facing the 6 pairs of eyes staring at her, Bailey Hongzhuang could only bite the bullet and say, "Thank you for your acceptance, seniors, but I do not have plans to accept a master." As soon as these words emerged, everyone was stunned again. How could Bailey Hongzhuang refuse such a good opportunity? Chapter 830, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Rejected? Bailey Hongzhuang's delicate and beautiful face was slightly apologetic as she knew what was best for her in her heart. With her previous achievements in alchemy, she didn't need a master at all. As for the inscription technique, she only needed to learn from the old man in the Chaos Ring. Whether it was Chu Jiao and the other alchemists or by Jing Tian and the other inscription masters, they had already put down roots in the Qingshao kingdom. It is impossible for her to stay in Qingshao kingdom, not to mention she didn't have the slightest affection for Qingshao kingdom. The actions of just Nangong Yujin and Nangong Xiujie disgusted her, and she will leave Qingshao kingdom after the academy exchange competition is over. Therefore, it is impossible for her to apprentice here. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Bai Jingtian, Ji Yunma and Qin Qingwu all had smiles on their faces. "Bailey girl, you did the right thing," Bai Jingtian exclaimed. Bailey Hongzhuang was taken aback, not understanding what Bai Jingtian meant. The three of alchemists also frowned. In their opinion, as long as they were willing to accept a disciple, they wouldn't refuse, but Bailey Hongzhuang refused decisively. The people who were originally envious of Bailey Hongzhuang now only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was a fool after hearing her answer. Bailey Hongzhuang actually gave up such a good opportunity. Only a fool would refuse. Bailey Hongzhuang is too arrogant. She chose to give up such a good opportunity, she will definitely regret it in the future. In my opinion, she is proud and arrogant, she doesn't know how stupid she is. This is also a good thing. This kind of person isn't worthy of Master Chen and the others' consideration. The cultivators of Lingyin Academy all gloated. They were previously envious when they saw Bailey Hongzhuang's good luck. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang has given up this opportunity herself, they are in the same position again. However, what Bai Jingtian said next stunned everyone again, and their faces grew even uglier. Bailey girl's inscription skills are so superb, even the three of us agree that we can't be Bailey girl's masters, and can only forge a long-term friendship between equals. Bai Jingtian glanced at the Chu Jiao and the others. "You three old guys want to be Bailey girl's master, what are you trying to do?" Chu Jiao and the other two were stunned. In their opinion, even if Bailey Hongzhuang is a genius, her ability in inscriptions is at best comparable to her ability in alchemy. Now Bai Jingtian actually said that Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills are at the same level as theirs, so how powerful are Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills? Although Bai Jingtian and the other two have very strange temperaments, they also know that they never lie. Since they say this, then it's the truth. At that moment, Chu Jiao and the others were no longer displeased by Bailey Hongzhuang's rejection. Bailey Hongzhuang is already a master of inscriptions. How could they still accept Bailey Hongzhuang as a disciple? They can only be equal with Bailey Hongzhuang. Lin Hao felt that this was too unbelievable, so he couldn't help asking, "Elder Ji, is what Elder Bai said true?" Ji Yunma nodded without hesitation. "Yes, the Bailey girl solved a problem that had been plaguing us a few days ago with one sentence." Lin Hao and others were shocked. It seemed that they still underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. She can actually direct Ji Yunma and the others. How terrifying is this? Telling the truth, but no one believes it. For a while, the look in everyone's eyes changed again as they stared at Bailey Hongzhuang. At Bailey Hongzhuang's age she can be called an inscription master. How could there be such a pervert in the world? Bailey Hongzhuang also did not expect Ji Yunma and the others to misunderstand her ability. In fact, she is only proficient in the configuration of the inscription liquid, and she is a true beginner in drawing inscriptions. Who let Ji Yunma and others debate that day about the configuration of the inscription liquid? She has studied with the old man of the Chaos Ring for so long and has only mastered the configuration of the inscription liquid. The old man of the Chaos Ring obviously intended to have Bailey Hongzhuang learn the basics by starting with the configuration of the inscription liquid. Who would have thought that such a misunderstanding would occur? Ji Lao, it's not like you've said, my inscription skills are actually. Not waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to finish speaking, Ji Yunma said, now you know how strong Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills are, right? If she studies the inscription technique wholeheartedly, her future will be limitless. Hearing this, Chu Jiao and the others looked at each other. They were amazed by Bailey Hongzhuang's ability in alchemy. But they had no way to refute what Ji Yunma said. Inscription technique should be the direction of Bailey Hongzhuang's development. Actually, my inscription skills are not that good. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but say. It's just that at such a moment, no one believed what Bailey Hongzhuang said and only thought Bailey Hongzhuang was being modest. Bailey girl, don't be humble. It just so happens that we old guys still have a few questions to ask you for advice about inscriptions. If you have time now, can you come to Wubao Pavilion with us? Qin Qinggu smiled broadly. They came to Bailey Hongzhuang this time so that they could have a good discussion on inscription techniques. Inscriptions are like this. It is easy for one person to get cornered when studying it alone, and only when everyone is together can they open their minds. With Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, she will surely be able to bring them considerable gains. Elder Qin, my inscription skills are really not that good. Bailey Hongzhuang said helplessly. If the discussion is about the configuration of the inscription liquid, it is fine, but if it's about how to draw inscriptions, then she is really a beginner. This girl is too modest. Bai Jingtian chuckled, not believing Bailey Hongzhuang's words at all. He turned around and said to Chu Jio and the others, "We have some questions to ask Bailey girl, so we'll leave first." Bailey Hongzhuang could not stop Bai Jingtian's enthusiasm no matter how she argued. Bai Jingtian and the others had obviously decided that she was hiding deeply. Bailey Hongzhuang was very helpless. No one believed the truth. After Bailey Hongzhuang was pulled away by Bai Jingtian and the others, only Xia Jiqing and her group were left blowing in the wind. The students of Lingyin Academy only felt that the world had gone crazy. Bailey Hongzhuang was actually an inscription master. How can this be endured? The alchemy competition thus came to an end, but Huan Chuyu obviously wouldn't let the existence of Wei Hanyan go. He would definitely grab hold of this issue. Therefore, the three principals deliberated for a while. When Huan Chuyu walked out, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Obviously, the three principals must have reached an agreement. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. In this alchemy competition, they really lost their wives and lost their soldiers. TL/N, idiom means to suffer a double loss after trying to trick the enemy. Breakthrough, Gong Shaoqing. When Bailey Hongzhuang came back from the Wubao Pavilion, she was surrounded by Xia Jiqing and the others. Sensing the dissatisfied gazes of Xia Jiqing and the others, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but say, "What are you thinking?" Xia Jiqing smiled and said with narrowed eyes, "Hongzhuang, you are hiding too deeply. You have kept us in the dark. If it weren't for Master Bai and the others speaking up about this, we would not have found out this information." Zhang Yunfeng continued. "You didn't ask me either." Bailey Hongzhuang opened her hands out innocently. She never planned to hide it, but she wouldn't deliberately tell everyone that she was an inscriptionist. That would just be showing off. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's innocent appearance, everyone was helpless. Who would think to ask such a question? "No matter, anyway, it was wrong of you to conceal this. We are very vindictive," Xia Jiqing said with a smile. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze swept across Xia Jiqing and the others one by one, and slowly said, "So, are you planning to return my inscriptions to me?" When this was asked, the faces of Xia Jiqing and the others all changed slightly, and they immediately took a step back. "It's getting late, I'd better go back to cultivate first." Xia Jiqing was the first to bolt. She had already used the inscription Hongzhuang gave her. "Jiqing is right, I'm going to go back and cultivate properly." Zhang Yunfeng also slipped away immediately. They already used them, so how could they return these treasures to Bailey Hongzhuang? Soon after, everyone left one after the other. Only Gong Shaoqing was still standing in place. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her phoenix eyes slightly, and she silently asked herself, could it be that Gong Shaoqing wanted to return the inscription to her? "I'm also going back to rest. I have to participate in the finals tomorrow." After saying this, Gong Shaoqing also disappeared in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but laugh softly. She felt really happy to have met such a group of friends. The next day, just as the day dawned, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others got up. Today was the finals of the cultivator competition, and it is also the most important round of this academy exchange competition. After everyone gathered, Huan Chuyu led everyone towards the royal competition arena. The last final would be held at the royal competition arena, which will attract a lot of attention. The emperor of Qingshao Kingdom as well as royal relatives and other powerful people will be there in person. Ordinary civilians are no longer allowed to watch this competition, and it is for this reason that everyone attaches great importance to it. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on Gong Xiaoqing, and a look of surprise appeared on her pretty face. Gong Xiaoqing, have you broken through? She clearly felt that Gong Xiaoqing's breath was much stronger than before. He had clearly broken through from the late mysterious realm to the innate realm. Gong Xiaoqing nodded slightly. It's just a fluke that I just broke through. Bailey Hongzhuang took a deep look at Gong Xiaoqing. She knew how much importance Gong Xiaoqing attached to this final. From the moment Dong Fangyu was hit, Gong Xiaoqing's heart had been extremely subdued. Taking this opportunity to finally break through to the innate realm would be a great help for today's final. As Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, everyone looked at Gong Xiaoqing in surprise. This is great news. Chapter 833, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Breakthrough, Third Stage Red Realm. Cui Haoyan looked at Gong Xiaoqing in amazement. He had always competed with Gong Xiaoqing, but he never thought that Gong Xiaoqing would break through to the innate realm earlier than him. Although he hadn't crossed into the innate realm, he understood that the gap between the mysterious realm and the innate red realm is not a minor step. It seems that he must improve his strength as soon as possible. He didn't want to lose out to Gong Xiaoqing. Bailey Hongzhuang, didn't you also break through to the third stage of the red realm? Lu Huayan turned around with a smile, seeing that the students were able to make such progress put him in a good mood. Other students couldn't see it, but as a tutor, he was able to see Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing's progress with just a glance. It seems that both of them attach great importance to this final, and it is precisely because they place enough importance on it that they can break through. With Lu Huayan's question, everyone's eyes couldn't help but fall on Bailey Hongzhuang, not expecting her to have broken through again. Hongzhuang, your speed of improvement is too fast, it's too much for us. Zhang Yunfeng looked helpless. Bailey Hongzhuang was the youngest one among them, but he didn't expect her cultivation to be the fastest, which was really a blow. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. It's thanks to the Yuanli fruit I got in the ruins, otherwise I wouldn't have made such fast progress. With her talent in cultivation, the speed of cultivation would not be slow, it's just that the amount of time she has cultivated was shorter, so there was still a considerable distance to catch up. Zhang Yunfeng and others smiled. They understood that Bailey Hongzhuang was being modest. The ruins naturally helped her, but Bailey Hongzhuang was able to reach this level due to her own efforts. With Huan Chuyu leading, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others finally arrived at the royal competition arena, but after seeing the grandeur of the royal competition arena, everyone's eyes flashed with amazement. This royal competition arena is similar to a huge gladiatorial arena, with a giant square competition stage in the center made of extremely hard rock and surrounded by railings. Near the vicinity of the railing, Bailey Hongzhuang felt faint energy fluctuations. There was obviously a protective shield near the railing. Once the energy fluctuations on the competition stage are too great and are threatening, the shield will immediately activate to ensure that bystanders will not be affected. Around the competition stage is a circular stepped platform, and all the onlookers sit on the stepped platform to ensure that everyone can clearly see the battle on the competition stage. Currently, the stands was already full of spectators, and such a scene could only be described as spectacular. After Xia Jiqing and the others saw this scene, a look of astonishment appeared on their faces. The Qingshao Kingdom's royal family is extraordinary. This competition arena is truly spectacular. Bai Junyu said with emotion. Gong Xiaoqing glanced coldly at the martial arts arena. This looks like watching a monkey perform tricks. Bailey Hongzhuang did not say anything, but she also agreed with what Gong Xiaoqing said. The people sitting in the stands are all dignitaries of the Qingshao Kingdom, and their final is just a show in the eyes of these people. She doesn't like this feeling, but many people like this feeling of being in the spotlight. Gear up, Baisher. Turning her gaze slightly, Bailey Hongzhuang noticed that Imo Yinjue was sitting in the stands. Dressed in black, understated and reserved, his black clothes were embroidered with a lifelike silver-threaded chrysanthemum. He sat quietly in the crowd and completely blended in, but if one sensed carefully, he seemed out of place. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang, the corners of Imo Yinjue's lips slowly curled up into a smile. This was his way of greeting. Bailey Hongzhuang returned a faint smile. Even though there were many things she didn't understand, she believed that Imo Yinjue was a friend and not an enemy. Cui Haoyan and the others also noticed where Imo Yinjue was and raised their hands to Imo Yinjue. Imo Yinjue was their only friend in the Qingshao kingdom. The teams from the 3 major academies all arrived today, but only the 4 finalists participate in the competition. However, the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom had not yet arrived, including the one who was praised by everyone, Nangong Aochen, who had not yet revealed himself. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is really arrogant. The finals are about to start, and they haven't shown up yet. Do they like to use such pomp and circumstance to prove their greatness? Xiaohe cocked his head. What he hates the most is the bone-deep arrogance of the royal family. No matter when or where, they are always the last to appear, as if this is the only way to prove how noble their status is. The royal family has always had bad practices, not to mention this Qingshao kingdom is a big kingdom, so it has always been like this. The corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled slightly. She expected this kind of waiting. Even in Fengbua Kingdom, which is a small kingdom, the royal family is also the last to appear. Isn't it just a royal family? What's the big deal? Xiao Bai curled his lips. It was merely a royal family, and their arrogance was so huge. The arc of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips widened a bit. If anyone heard Xiao Bai's remarks, their jaw would drop in shock. The royal family of a big kingdom is a great entity. However, she also understood Xiao Bai's thoughts. In fact, in her previous life she never had the royal family in her considerations at all. With the power of the Bailey family, she could destroy a dynasty with just one thought. Of course, in this life, she likewise didn't take all this seriously, but right now she does not have that kind of power. Baisher nestled in Bailey Hongzhuang's arms, its pair of soulful eyes constantly surveying the surroundings. It's a pity that it has no chance to fight with its wisdom and martial arts. However, it is said that Nangong Aochen also has a monster beast, so it might have a chance to play. Thinking of this, Baisher couldn't help but get excited. It finally had a chance to show its might. This group of uneducated fools always treats it like an ornamental beast. What a joke. He's a majestic beast king, okay? He wanted to take advantage of today to let these guys understand how powerful he is. Bailey Hongzhuang stroked Baisher's fur. She knew that this little guy couldn't help but want to express his thoughts. Speaking of which, Baisher, Beastmaster, has always been misunderstood by everyone. This must be unacceptable to this little guy. If he has the opportunity, he wanted to make a name for himself. Huan Chuyu had already rejoined Jian Qingqiu, but the faces of Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi no longer reflect yesterday's arrogance and disdain. Although Bailey Hongzhuang didn't know how Huan Chuyu resolved yesterday's incident, she believed that Huan Chuyu must have gained certain benefits for Kanglin Academy. Chapter 835, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort. Have you seen him? However, the damage was done, and even though Wei Hanyun has disappeared, the interested parties knew the truth of the matter. As a result, the reputations of Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy had been greatly affected. Lu Jingqi recovered and looked at Xia Jiqing with resentment. She previously resented Xia Jiqing, but now hates Xia Jiqing even more. However, she is not Xia Jiqing's opponent in terms of strength, so she can only use the gaze in her eyes to express her anger. In response, Xia Jiqing unconcernedly adjusted her hair, and a simple sentence left Lu Jingqi speechless: defeated enemy. After Xia Jiqing said this, she didn't even look at Lu Jingqi. Obviously, Lu Jingqi no longer posed any threat to her, so she didn't even look at her. The crowd did not have to wait long before the emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, Nangong Oi, walked over surrounded by the crowd. Everyone present stood up and bowed to him. Nangong Oi was about 45 years old, his handsome and cold face was filled with an emperor's majesty, his eyes were sharp and wise as if just one look was full of infinite power. Despite showing the faint smile on his face, people could still not relax. The aura created over the years was evident with his every movement. The bright yellow gold robe was like a dazzling light, causing everyone to feel awe. Beside Nangong Oi, Nangong Yujin and Nangong Yuer also appeared, and beside the two of them, there was a handsome man who was particularly eye-catching. The man was wearing a light yellow luxurious brocade suit, with auspicious symbols woven with golden threads all over it, evincing a rich nobility. Obviously, this man is the crown prince of the Qingshao kingdom, Nangong Aochen. Nangong Aochen's face was handsome and cold, perhaps due to his identity as the crown prince, his face always reflected seriousness, but this may just be his masculinity. The eyes of many women in the audience were attracted by Nangong Aochen. Nangong Aochen could be called the beloved of all the women in the Qingshao kingdom, and the pride of the entire Qingshao kingdom. Almost all the women hope that one day Nangong Aochen will look at them, but Nangong Aochen is completely different from Nangong Yujin. Nangong Yujin is a master of debauchery. Nangong Aochen devoted almost all his time and energy to business, and he didn't care about women. It was precisely because of Nangong Aochen's indifference that countless women wanted to throw themselves into his arms. This Nangong Aochen really looks very good. He looks handsome and you can tell at a glance that he is not the same as Nangong Yujin. Zhang Yunfeng said as he looked at Nangong Aochen. He had heard about Nangong Aochen's great reputation earlier. Today he saw Nangong Aochen's person. Cui Haoyan raised his brows slightly, and directly put his arm around Zhang Yunfeng's shoulder. What? Have you taken a fancy to Nangong Aochen? As soon as these words came out, the eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang and others fell on Cui Haoyan. Zhang Yunfeng and Cui Haoyan had become a pair since the monster beast frenzy, but they had never seen Cui Haoyan say such explicit things. Ah. Zhang Yunfeng froze for a moment, and after feeling Cui Haoyan's burning gaze, he blushed slightly and he said, I haven't. Finals, the three academies. Seeing this scene, everyone smiled and looked at Zhang Yunfeng teasingly. What are you looking at me like that for? Zhang Yunfeng blushed and couldn't help but be annoyed. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled and shrugged, I just think you look good today and wanted to look at you more. He. Xia Jiqing also laughed, this is the first time I've seen you guys show your love so blatantly. Yunfeng, from now on, you can't say that other men are good in front of Cui Haoyan, or he will be jealous. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Yunfeng blushed even more, and looked at Xia Jiqing in embarrassment. As for Cui Haoyan's appearance, it was as if he had already surrendered, he didn't mind at all. Ha! Everyone laughed, they only had heartfelt blessings for Zhang Yunfeng and Cui Haoyan. Zhang Yunfeng beat Cui Haoyan with her pink fist. Cui Haoyan's appearance made her feel helpless. While everyone was laughing, Nangong Oi had already sat down on his seat with a faint smile on his handsome and majestic face. As the Emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, I feel very honored that the exchange meeting of the three academies is being held here. I hope that the finalists can perform well. Nangong Oi just said those few words and sat down. The purpose of coming here today is entirely to observe Nangong Aochen's performance. The entire royal competition arena was very quiet, and it was only after Nangong Oi sat down that it relaxed slightly. With Nangong Oi present, there was always a little more restraint and caution. After Nangong Aochen said something to Nangong Oi, he, Nangong Yujin, and Nangong Yuer walked to the Lingyin Academy team. Today they were not representing the royal family, but the students of Lingyin Academy. I wonder if Nangong Aochen has found out who assassinated Nangong Shoujie. Xia Jiqing couldn't help saying after she suddenly thought of Nangong Shoujie. Everyone thought for a moment, the death of Nangong Shoujie might be a very sensitive matter in Qingshao Kingdom, but Nangong Oi's face did not reveal any clues. My guess is that they can't figure it out. If he didn't think of a perfect plan, that person wouldn't dare to assassinate Nangong Shoujie. Bai Junyu said slowly, I don't see any sadness on the Emperor of Qingshao Kingdom's face. The assassination of Nangong Xiujie is already a great disgrace for the royal family, and the emperor will naturally not reveal it. Gong Xiaoqing's eyes shone with wisdom. However, with the inconsistent affection in the royal family, his death is just a pretense and maybe he really doesn't care. Hearing this, everyone nodded in sympathy. The cold-bloodedness of royal family members is well known. There are an unknown number of siblings who have been assassinated for the throne. It is not easy to grow up safely in the royal family. Thinking about it, the princes and princesses of Nangong Oyi must not be small in number. The death of Nangong Xiujie is only a pity and a short-term sadness. It will not have much impact. This is the sorrow of being a royal family member. Jian Qingqiu stood up slowly and swept his gaze over the surrounding crowd before opening his mouth. Today is the final of the exchange competition of the 3 major academies. There are 4 contestants. Lingyin Academy, Nangong Aochen. Beihai Academy, Shaolon Mei. Kanglan Academy, Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing. Brother, avenge me. Although this result had been widely circulated in Qingshao Kingdom 2 days ago, many people still didn't know about it. When they heard that the least favored Kanglan Academy had 2 places, the audience was still surprised. In the previous academy exchange meetings, Lingyin Academy was the champion, but now Lingyin Academy only had Nangong Aochen in the finals, and Nangong Aochen has entered the finals without fighting. For a while, there were significantly more gazes on the Kanglan Academy cultivators, but they were still confident. The mere existence of Nangong Aochen had already determined the outcome of this final. Brother, that woman is Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Yuer said to Nangong Aochen as she pointed at Bailey Hongzhuang, who she still absolutely hates. Although she was defeated by Bailey Hongzhuang, what kind of person is Nangong Aochen? As long as Nangong Aochen strikes, Bailey Hongzhuang will only fail. Brother, you must avenge me. Nangong Yuer had an angry look on her face. Since she was a child, no one has dared to hurt her like that. She wants Bailey Hongzhuang to die. Hearing this, Nangong Aochen glanced at Nangong Yuer, and then his eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. Amazement flashed across the calm gaze after landing on Bailey Hongzhuang, but it soon returned to calm. Brother, this Bailey Hongzhuang's strength is indeed good, but she dared to humiliate second brother like that. You must deal with her. Nangong Yujin also said aloud. His relationship with Nangong Xiujie had always been very good. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had nothing to do with Nangong Xiujie's death, he couldn't bear to see how Bailey Hongzhuang had humiliated Nangong Xiujie. This debt must be repaid. However, in the face of Nangong Yuer and Nangong Yujin's indignant expressions, Nangong Aochen's face remained serious, but did not show any anger. I will defend the dignity of the royal family, but you both know what you did. Nangong Aochen's words were filled with warning. He couldn't be clearer about Nangong Yujin's regular behavior. Since Nangong Xiujie was assassinated, he also understood clearly what happened to Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujie at the first floor. In fact, the initial cause of this matter was entirely instigated by the Nangong Xiujie duo, and the cultivators of Kanglan Academy were merely victims. Moreover, Dongfang Yu of Kanglan Academy has not appeared again, no doubt because Nangong Xiujie destroyed his self-confidence. If Nangong Xiujie hadn't gone so far, Bailey Hongzhuang would not have humiliated Nangong Xiujie. Listening to Nangong Aochen's words of reprimand, Nangong Yujin and Nangong Yuer's expressions were somewhat ugly. They also clearly understand Nangong Aochen's character. They have always been viewed as part of the group and not as relatives. It is because of this that it is difficult for them to get close to Nangong Aochen. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's humiliation of Nangong Xiujie is an insult to the dignity of the royal family. Nangong Aochen will not let Bailey Hongzhuang go. They just need to know this, and that is enough. Sensing Nangong Aochen's gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang did not shy away from it. The two gazes met in midair, sparks flashing, and returned to indifference after understanding. Bailey Hongzhuang felt calmness in Nangong Aochen's gaze. The gentleman was open and honest, without hiding anything. Wonderful, lottery result. At that moment, Bailey Hongzhuang also understood what Imo Yinjue meant about Nangong Aochen being a gentleman, and thought that this Nangong Aochen was probably the calmest person she had ever met so far. His eyes were clear and peaceful, without the slightest obscurity or concealment, like a black chrysanthemum, indifferent but fair. It seems that the rumors about Qingshao Kingdom were not wrong. Nangong Aochen is indeed the most outstanding prince of Qingshao Kingdom. The 4 participants in the final will take turns fighting each other, and the one who wins the most times will be in the final. There is no rest time during the competition, so it is best to stop as soon as possible. Jian Qingqiu slowly explained the rules of the final to everyone. Each of the 4 including Bailey Hongzhuang will fight against the other 3 in turn. This method is the fairest, reducing the possibility of opportunism. Now, the 4 students will come up to the stage to draw lots to determine the order of the competition. Following Jian Qingqiu's words, Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing walked towards the 3 principals. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly drew out a slip of paper, on which was written the word of 1. It seemed that she would be the first to enter the competition. Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't worried about her number, she would fight the 3 of them one by one in the end anyway. It didn't matter which round she started with. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang knew that her first opponent was Gong Shaoqing, a trace of dismay appeared in her eyes. The probability of this is really low. When Gong Shaoqing knew that his first opponent was Bailey Hongzhuang, a faint smile appeared in his eyes. No way, the 2 of you turned out to be opponents in the first match? What should we do? Xia Jiqing was stunned. The best result would be for Gong Shaoqing and Bailey Hongzhuang to meet in the last match, but they did not expect to meet in the first match. It was really troublesome. Cui Haoyan and the others obviously did not expect such a situation. Since Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing are both students of Kanglin Academy, it would naturally be best to not fight. It's just that the Academy exchange competition has a lot of gold rewards. If they can perform well in this exchange competition, it will be of great help to their future. Academy aside, everyone wants to win first place and become famous. In the past, the first place winners in the Academy exchange competition all became famous, had bright futures, and many forces directly offered olive branches. It is precisely because of this that they couldn't say anything. In the first match, Kanglin Academy's Bailey Hongzhuang versus Kanglin Academy's Gong Shaoqing. The referee's loud voice clearly reached everyone's ears in the royal competition arena. When the crowd heard the news, their expressions grew excited. Kanglin Academy seems to have bad luck. The first round is the battle between the cultivators of their own academy. If you don't fight, the student who admits defeat will definitely be viewed as questionable. No one is willing to lose such a good opportunity. If you do, you will undoubtedly consume the fighting power of your own academy, and you will be at a disadvantage when you fight against the other 2 academies later. The person who wins the first place will be the prince, it doesn't matter what they do. When Lu Huayan found out the result of the lottery, he was a little speechless. From the perspective of the academy, he naturally hoped that Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing would not consume the combat power of their academy. From a personal perspective, this was indeed a good opportunity. Chapter 839, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort I Forfeit. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind was full, she would never fight Gong Shaoqing. This would only reduce the chance of Kanglin Academy winning. She didn't care about becoming famous. If she conceded, Gong Shaoqing might have a chance of winning as long as she could defeat Xiao Lanmei and Nangong Aochen. However, she does not have absolute confidence against Nangong Aochen, because Nangong Aochen's strength is not to be underestimated. Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing stepped onto the high platform under the watchful eyes of the crowd. The moment they stepped onto the high platform, all the attention was on them. Curious gazes fell on the 2, they all wanted to know whether Bailey Hongzhuang and the other would make a move. The competition begins. The referee gave an order and waved his hand, starting the competition. Bailey Hongzhuang's red lips parted slightly. This competition. Not waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to finish speaking, Gong Shaoqing's voice rang out, I forfeit. As soon as these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. They thought that Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing might battle immediately regardless of the overall situation. Now it seems that neither Bailey Hongzhuang nor Gong Xiaoqing is that kind of person. Kanglin Academy has good luck this time. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Gong Xiaoqing with a little surprise. She did not expect Gong Xiaoqing to forfeit immediately also. After all, this kind of honor is very important for the continuation of a cultivator's path. Gong Xiaoqing's handsome face was a bit carefree. In fact, he was shocked when he saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was about to forfeit. It was very clear to him that with his strength it would be impossible for him to win, and Bailey Hongzhuang is the Kanglin Academy's best hope. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang wins this battle without any yuanli consumption, it will be of great help to her. Although he values his own future, as a member of Kanglin Academy, he hoped to help Kanglin Academy out of its current predicament. If even Bailey Hongzhuang was willing to give up for this, then naturally he would do the same. Seeing the actions of Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing, everyone in Kanglin Academy was very moved. They understood when both were about to forfeit that both knew what they were willing to give up. At that moment they admired Gong Xiaoqing deeply. Although he conceded defeat this time, Gong Xiaoqing was a richly deserved hero of Kanglin Academy. The gazes of Lu Huayan and Huan Chuyu were also slightly complicated, but judging from the current situation, this was indeed the best path. The referee was not surprised by this result. In fact, there were quite a few people who chose to forfeit in previous academy exchange matches against cultivators from the same academy. Kanglin Academy Bailey Hongzhuang wins. With the referee's announcement, Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing looked at each other, smiled, and walked off the competition stage together. The onlookers didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this. The battles between students of the same academy in exchange matches is not worth watching, and it would be great to start the second match earlier. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with a hint of surprise in his eyes. He also had a certain understanding of Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing's situation. No matter whose point of view it is, Bailey Hongzhuang is stronger than Gong Xiaoqing. If a person was Bailey Hongzhuang, it would be impossible to choose to forfeit. Chapter 844 Contract Beast, Flame Lion. Although Xiao Lanmei's concession caused a lot of discussion, with the start of the third match the entire royal arena became quiet again. Third match, Nangong Aochen vs Gong Xiaoqing. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and others' eyes fell on Gong Xiaoqing. This was a battle without much suspense. Even though Gong Xiaoqing successfully broke through to the Red Realm, it still pales in comparison to Nangong Aochen's 5th-level strength in the Red Realm. It's not that Gong Xiaoqing's strength is not strong enough, but Nangong Aochen is really too perverted. After all, their cultivation conditions are not as good as Nangong Aochen, which is the reason for the cultivation gap. Gong Xiaoqing, go for it. Bailey Hongzhuang had a faint smile on her face. Even if it couldn't change the result, the competition was still a way to gain experience. Fighting against the strong often allows them to understand more about the power of the strong, which will be of great help for their cultivation. In her previous life, she competed with the masters of the family from time to time. From the initial route to later being able to persevere, this kind of progress often makes people feel more accomplishment. For cultivators, mindset is extremely important. Failure is not terrible, every cultivator will fail on the road forward. What is terrible is not daring to face failure. Go for it. Just show the Kanglin Academy spirit. Cui Haoyan shouted. In this case, it was difficult knowing it would be a loss, but they wanted to encourage Gong Xiaoqing, so they could only offer such encouragement. Feeling everyone's goodwill, Gong Xiaoqing's iceberg-like face also melted a bit. Don't worry, I will do my best. After coming to Lingyin Academy and seeing the strength of Nangong Xiujie and others, he understood that although he was quite famous at Kanglin Academy, there was still a big gap with other cultivators. In fact, it is not without reason that Kanglin Academy has been at the bottom in the last 2 academy exchange competitions. With harder conditions, Kanglin Academy does have a considerable gap with the other 2 major academies. If Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't had a chance to change the rankings, he wouldn't have been able to help Kanglan Academy regain its honor. His mood had been depressed and helpless, but he had finally returned to the current calm. It is not terrible to lag behind, as long as he continues to work hard. It is not impossible to close these gaps in the future. The phrase, give up, did not exist in Gong Xiaoqing's dictionary. I'm going. After he said this, Gong Xiaoqing immediately walked to the high platform. Lu Qingyue looked at Gong Xiaoqing's back as he left, wanting to say something but unable to say anything in the end. No matter what, Gong Xiaoqing will always be the hero of her heart. Nangong Aochen stood on the competition stage again. Beside him, a flame lion was looking at Gong Xiaoqing aggressively. My God, this is the contracted beast of His Royal Highness, the Flame Lion. I heard that the Flame Lion has the strength of the 5th level of the Red Realm. Ordinary contracted beasts are no match for the Flame Lion. Does His Highness the Crown Prince need to do anything himself? As long as the Flame Lion makes a move, Gong Xiaoqing has already failed. Everyone's eyes were attracted by the majestic Flame Lion. They saw that the beast had red flaming hair all over its body. It was a lion with the attribute of fire, and its attack power was also very powerful. The royal family had spent a lot of effort to help Nangong Aochen find this Flame Lion. Thank you for reading on my tip novel. Chapter 845 It's Just a Little Lion. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze also fell on the Flame Lion. The Flame Lion is an excellent breed amongst demon pets, and it is not easy to contract the Flame Lion. It is difficult to find the Flame Lion cub alone, and it is even more difficult to seal the Flame Lion cub into an egg. This shows how rare Nangong Aochen's Flame Lion cub was. It's just a little lion, what's there to be proud of? Xiao He curled his lips, with an expression of indifference. This kind of guy can be killed in a matter of minutes. Xiao Bai nodded, the monkey reigns when the tiger is not at home one. This kind of guy can only be proud in this type of backcountry. Bailey Hongzhuang listened to Xiao He and Xiao Bai's attitude, with a faint smile on the corners of her lips. The mouth on these two guys is really not small. Master, when you fight Nangong Aochen later, send me onto the field, and I'll instantly kill that little lion. Xiao He's eyes flashed with excitement. He hadn't made a move for so long, his hands were itchy. Although the current master's strength is still not strong, it should be okay to expose the relationship with Xiao Bai. Before Bailey Hongzhuang could speak, Bai Shi already protested, if you want to go on, there's also me. It has been waiting for this opportunity to clear its name. Hearing this, Xiao He and Xiao Bai also smiled. Since this is a good opportunity for Bai Shi to clear his name, they won't compete with the White Lion. After Gong Xiaoqing saw the Flame Lion beside Nangong Aochen, his eyes also changed a bit. Feeling out a little with his senses, Gong Xiaoqing knew that the Flame Lion's strength was not weak, and there was a bit of fluctuation in his heart. The royal family's heritage is indeed beyond that of ordinary people. This Flame Lion is not very old but has already reached the 5th level of cultivation in the Red Realm. So many cultivation resources have been spent just to improve the strength of the Flame Lion. It really shows how rich and powerful they are. The competition begins. After the referee's order, Nangong Aochen and Gong Xiaoqing didn't make a move immediately. Nangong Aochen looked at Gong Xiaoqing. According to his understanding, Gong Xiaoqing was still in the late stage of Shantian II realm, so he was not a match with him at all. Once he took action, it would be a complete rout, so he was not anxious at all. Since you don't have a contracted beast, my contracted beast won't make a move. Nangong Aochen said slowly. With such an absolute disparity in strength, there was no need for the Flame Lion to participate in the battle. Whatever. Gong Xiaoqing's attitude was as cold as ever, and to him, whether Nangong Aochen used the contracted beast or not didn't make any difference. Hearing Gong Xiaoqing's answer, Nangong Aochen was a little surprised. Logically speaking, an ordinary cultivator should be very flustered in such a situation, but he couldn't feel any such emotion at all from Gong Xiaoqing. On the contrary, Gong Xiaoqing's indifferent attitude was very strange. Make your move. Gong Xiaoqing did not delay, He knew that even if he exploded with all his power to fight with Nangong Aochen, he might not be able to achieve any results, because the strength gap between the two was too great. However, even so, he would still try his best. If even a small amount of Nangong Aochen's power can be consumed, it will be that much easier for Bailey Hongzhuang to deal with Nangong Aochen. This is his only thought after stepping onto the arena. Everything else is no longer important. Thank you for reading on my tip novel. Chapter 846 Fight, Gong Shaoqing. Seeing that Gong Shaoqing was so fast, Nangong Aochen didn't waste any more time. The Yuanli in his body surged in an instant, and powerful energy surged out without any effort. Taking a step forward, Nangong Aochen suddenly punched out. The sharp wind from his fist smashed through the air, creating a sonic boom. Sensing the power of Nangong Aochen's fist, Gong Shaoqing's heart shuddered. An expert will know as soon as he made a move. Although he had long understood the gap between two realms, he couldn't help being amazed after Nangong Aochen made a move. The seemingly simple punch came with the feeling of invincibility. If he hit it head-on, he was afraid that his hand would be ruined. Gong Shaoqing leaped up immediately and dodged Nangong Aochen's fist. At the same time, he punched Nangong Aochen's chest with a tricky arc. Nangong Aochen's speed was also extremely fast as he dodged sideways and attacked Gong Shaoqing again with fierce fists. Watching the battle between Gong Shaoqing and Nangong Aochen, everyone thought it was like a game of cat and mouse. What the hell? Are the students of Kanglin Academy turtles? They're hiding all the time, and don't even have the courage to fight head-to-head. No matter how good that Gong Shaoqing is at hiding, once His Royal Highness finds an opportunity, he will definitely lose. There is a big gap in cultivation between Gong Shaoqing and His Royal Highness, and the fact that he has been able to dodge until now is proof of his strength. There are also many discerning people among the onlookers. From the moment Gong Shaoqing and Nangong Aochen's auras erupted, they already understood that this was a contest with a great disparity in strength. Gong Shaoqing can't fight head-to-head at all, because once he does, he will definitely lose this battle. Dodging is the only way. And it is this kind of evasion that also demonstrates Gong Shaoqing's fighting skills and shows his strength as much as possible under such limitations. Although there is a certain gap in the strength of Kanglin Academy's Gong Shaoqing, he is very smart and has a solid foundation. As long as he is given a certain amount of time, his future will not be bad. People with discerning eyes have already seen Gong Shaoqing's purpose. Appreciation appeared in their eyes. Cultivation can be improved, and at Gong Shaoqing's age, there is a lot of room for improvement in the future. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were fixed on the high platform. Gong Shaoqing's strength was clearly displayed, but Nangong Aochen's strength was indeed very strong. In her opinion, this Nangong Aochen is indeed a gentleman. Nangong Aochen's previous attacks were not violent, he was deliberately giving Gong Shaoqing a chance to perform. After all, it is not easy for every cultivator to reach this stage. Since Gong Shaoqing has the courage to participate in the competition, he should be given a chance to perform. Chapter 847 It's over. Scoff. A strong wind slashed by, and Gong Shaoqing's pupils reflected a huge fist rapidly approaching. It was too late to escape. Gong Shaoqing felt helpless. This competition was coming to an end. However, that fist stopped in front of Gong Shaoqing's forehead, and at the same time, Nangong Aochen's voice rang out. It's over. Nangong Aochen slowly withdrew his fist, his face still calm and serious. To him, defeating Gong Shaoqing was nothing to be proud about. If it wasn't because his opponent was a participant in the Academy Exchange competition, he would never have fought against Gong Shaoqing. Gong Shaoqing's expression was also very indifferent. He understood Nangong Aochen's arrogance. In fact, he was indeed not qualified to be Nangong Aochen's opponent. However, he was not discouraged by this. On the contrary, this will be his motivation. If you want your opponent to respect you, you first need to have the qualifications to make your opponent respect you. Nangong Aochen of Lingyin Academy wins. The referee announced the result without hesitation, and cheers arose throughout the stands. Nangong Aochen is their pride. Immediately after Nangong Aochen defeated the opponent, they were also somewhat surprised. Because while Gong Xiaoqing slowly walked back to the team, Nangong Aochen was still standing on the high platform. The next competition was still his. Good job! Cui Haoyan immediately patted Gong Xiaoqing's chest and expressed his admiration. In fact, if it were him it would be impossible for him to last so long against Nangong Aochen. Gong Xiaoqing was defeated but still proud. Xia Jiqing and the others also smiled. They had no regrets after being able to make it this far. Nangong Aochen is very strong. Even though I tried my best, he still was not serious. You have to be careful. Gong Xiaoqing's eyes were filled with concern. Bailey Hongzhuang is different from him. He knew that Hongzhuang was still thinking of fighting. Although he felt that her chances were low, it has always been a good opportunity to fight hard on the competition stage. How will you know how strong you were if you don't work hard? He actually tried his best, but the difference in power between the two was too great, so it was useless for him to try his best. But the gap between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen is smaller. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. I understand. The exquisite and beautiful face was dignified and serious. She had never underestimated Nangong Aochen, and he must have a lot of cards up his sleeves. However, she will try her best as well. Compared with Nangong Aochen, Kanglin Academy needs victory more. She did not know what the final result of this competition will be, but she won't let Nangong Aochen win easily. Jian Qingqiu's face was full of pride. Nangong Aochen can be called the most outstanding student of Lingyin Academy in recent years. He really is one in a million. The first 2 days of the preliminary competition and the alchemy competition already made him unhappy. It wasn't until Nangong Aochen's crushing victories today that a smile appeared on his face. No matter how Kanglin Academy tries to change the situation, the final victor will be Lingyin Academy. Although the results of the alchemy competition have a certain value, they are completely different from those of the cultivator competition. Nangong Oi also showed a satisfied smile after seeing Nangong Aochen's performance. Nangong Aochen is the prince he is most satisfied with. This strategy demonstrates his rank, but it can also win the heart of the people. He is very satisfied. Thank you for reading on my tip novel. Chapter 848 On the stage, Bailey Hongzhuang. In the third round, Nangong Aochen of Lingyin Academy will face off against Bailey Hongzhuang of Kanglin Academy. As soon as these words came out, the gazes of the crowd fell on Bailey Hongzhuang, an unusually attractive woman. She had garnered the attention of many people in the first moment that she appeared in the royal competition arena. Nangong Aochen's gaze also fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. A light flashed quietly in his eyes. He was finally going to fight Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Oi also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. He also understood Bailey Hongzhuang's humiliation of Nangong Xiujie. This matter has already involved the face of the royal family, and his feelings towards Bailey Hongzhuang were bad, but he never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would be such a distinguished-looking little girl. He knew that the reason why Bailey Hongzhuang did that was because Nangong Xiujie had gone too far, but he didn't care about that at all. No matter who it is, if they do something that insults the dignity of the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family, they must pay the price. When they knew that it was Bailey Hongzhuang's turn to fight, Nangong Yujin and Nangong Yuer had hideous smiles on their faces. Bailey Hongzhuang was so arrogant before, but let's see if she can continue to be so arrogant. Nangong Yuer's smile was a bit smug. She hated Bailey Hongzhuang to the bone, and it just so happened that what Bailey Hongzhuang had done earlier went against the dignity of the royal family, so her father had ordered that Bailey Hongzhuang be taught a lesson. She believed that it was impossible for Nangong Aochen to disobey their father's order, so Bailey Hongzhuang would suffer bitterly today. Nangong Aochen should teach Bailey Hongzhuang a lesson, so that she will know the height of the heavens or the depth of the earth one. Nangong Yujin narrowed his eyes slightly. Because of Bailey Hongzhuang, he was reprimanded by his father, and Nangong Xiujie, who had the best relationship with him, also died. He really hoped that Bailey Hongzhuang would also disappear from this world. Let's just wait for the show. Nangong Yuer's expression relaxed slightly. The outcome of this competition was already set in stone, all they needed to see was how badly Bailey Hongzhuang would lose. "Hongzhuang, go for it!" Xia Jiqing yelled, pumping her fists. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly, "I will." Everyone cheered for Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang is Kanglan Academy's greatest hope. However, just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to walk to the competition arena, Lu Huayan's voice rang out. "Bailey Hongzhuang, although the result of this competition is important, it's not as important as you yourself, do you understand?" Lu Huayan's eyes flashed with worry. He really appreciated and admired this student, Bailey Hongzhuang. Cultivator, doctor, alchemist, and inscription master, these four identities converged on Bailey Hongzhuang, and she can no longer be described with just the word genius. Although this competition is very important to Kanglan Academy, the Kanglan Academy's focus has always been student-centered. Students are the most important, and the existence of the academy is for the growth of students. If students are allowed to give up everything just for the reputation of the academy, it would put the cart before the horse too. The dark and bright phoenix eyes revealed a touch of surprise. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Lu Huayan, and slowly revealed a smile. "That is also the wish of the vice principal," Lu Huayan said again. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes changed slightly, and a touch of emotion spread in her heart. She nodded, "I understand. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 849 Strong Killing Intent. No one knew that when Lu Huayan said these words, Xiao Lanmei's eyes changed slightly. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly walked up to the competition stage and stood opposite Nangong Aochen. Her exquisite and stunning face still showed indifference and detachment. She didn't have a positive impression of members of the royal family. In fact, all of the members of the royal family were somewhat self-righteous. Even if Nangong Aochen showed the appearance of a gentleman, she didn't sense this even a little bit. Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Aochen's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang as he slowly said Bailey Hongzhuang's name. "When you humiliated Nangong Xiujia, you should know that you touched the face one of Qingshao Kingdom's royal family." Nangong Aochen's voice was low, and his eyes were sharp. "No one is allowed to sully the dignity of the royal family." Bailey Hongzhuang's expression remained unchanged, the corners of her lips hooked up in a mocking smile. "Only officials are allowed to set fires, while the common people are not allowed to light lamps too. You speak so eloquently." She is no stranger to the dignified face shown by the royal family. Bailey Hongzhuang often faced such tricks in Fengbua Kingdom and has long been used to it. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's blatant provocation, Nangong Aochen was slightly embarrassed. Everyone knows that what Bailey Hongzhuang said was the truth. Now that the royal family is investigating the assassination of Nangong Xiujia, the matter of Nangong Xiujia and Nangong Yujin harassing Bailey Hongzhuang and Lu Qingyue at the first floor is no longer a secret. In other words, from beginning to end it was Nangong Xiujia who provoked the cultivators of Kanglan Academy, while Bailey Hongzhuang and others responded passively. However, insulting the dignity of the royal family is insulting the dignity of the royal family. No matter what the reason is, it is unforgivable. No matter what, you cannot provoke the dignity of the Qingshao Kingdom royal family. Nangong Aochen's voice was slightly cold. What Bailey Hongzhuang said at this moment was already disrespectful. Nangong Oi's majestic face flashed with a touch of anger. Today, Nangong Aochen was prepared to take this opportunity to restore the dignity of the royal family. If Bailey Hongzhuang knew how to behave, it would be fine, but Bailey Hongzhuang still had such an attitude, so he couldn't let it go. Nangong Aochen's gaze turned slightly, and he quietly glanced at Nangong Oi. After seeing Nangong Oi's eyes, he immediately understood. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang clearly felt the murderous aura emanating from Nangong Aochen. Her phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. Nangong Aochen actually had murderous intentions towards her. Judging from the previous actions, Nangong Aochen originally did not intend to kill her, but now he actually showed killing intent towards her. She is sure that this is Nangong Oi's idea. For intolerant royals, stains are not allowed to exist. she must be completely obliterated. Perhaps on other occasions Nangong Aochan is not suitable for this, but in this case, Nangong Aochan is not under any pressure. 3. Even if he kills Bailey Hongzhuang, he only needs to say he made a mistake. Everyone will know that the truth is that this is a demonstration by the royal family. A cold light appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. It seems that the situation is no longer as simple as everyone thought. This competition is probably a fight to the death. The crowd only felt that the atmosphere between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochan suddenly became serious. They did not know about the murderous intent surging between them. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 850 Kill Directly. Isn't this just a bullshit royal family? He's so full of himself. 1. Master, let's kill Nangong Aochan, the heir to the royal family. A cold light flashed in Xiao Hei's eyes. If Nangong Aochan's attitude was good it would be fine, but this attitude is simply inexcusable. No matter how you look at it, this is Nangong Xiujia's problem, and has nothing to do with the master. It is really disgusting that the royal family puts on such a sanctimonious appearance. It's okay to kill, but it can't be done in plain sight. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly, her face was covered with frost. An eye for an eye. 2. Since Nangong Aochan has the heart to kill her, he should be prepared to be killed by her. It's just that in this royal arena, in full view of everyone, she can't do it. Because they are now in Qingshao Kingdom. Once Nangong Aochan falls, the entire Kanglan Academy would be implicated. If it was just her, leaving Qingshao Kingdom wouldn't be a big deal, but Kanglan Academy wouldn't be able to escape. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her chin slightly and looked at Nangong Aochan coldly. Let's fight. Since it is unavoidable, let's fight. There was also a hint of coldness in Nangong Aochan's eyes. As an adult of the royal family, he must obliterate the existence of all those who insult the dignity of the royal family. Doubt flashed in the eyes of Huan Chuyu and the others. Although the issue between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujia has some impact, the atmosphere between the two was too serious. The competition begins. With the referee's order, Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochan started the battle. The white lion jumped down from Bailey Hongzhuang's arms, his little body stared at the flame lion beside Nangong Aochan. Damn guy, how dare he want to kill his master, he will destroy this flame lion opponent first. Nangong Aochan couldn't help but be a little amused after seeing the ornamental contract beast in Bailey Hongzhuang's arms also participating in the battle. The flame lion's mouth can easily bite off the neck of this little guy. However, he also understood Bailey Hongzhuang's reason for doing this. Since Bailey Hongzhuang was already going to die, there was no reason why this contract beast shouldn't participate in the battle. When the audience saw the white lion confronting the flame lion, they couldn't help laughing out loud. Ha, this little guy also came to fight, the flame lion is 10 times bigger. Are the people from Kanglan Academy here just to make jokes? If this little guy can withstand a blow from the flaming lion, I'll eat this chair. Almost everyone was laughing, this was just too humiliating. Xia Jiqing and the others were also stunned. Although Bailey Hongzhuang normally always hugged the white lion, they had never seen the white lion fight. Thinking of the tyrannical strength of the flame lion, the white lion might die immediately on this competition arena. They didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang would do this. Only Amo Yunjue in the stands had a glint of understanding in his eyes. The power inside this little guy is beyond everyone's comprehension. You're quite enlightened. Nangong Aochan also had a touch of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't know whether it was self-confidence or ignorance, but she still didn't show any panic before death. Bailey Hongzhuang coldly glanced at Nangong Aochan, her red lips parting slightly. You lack enlightenment. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 851, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort. This kind of thing is useless against me. Nangong Aochan let out a cold snort and stepped forward with the sole of his foot. The energy in his dantian burst out, and a tyrannical pressure spread instantly. The fifth level of the Red Realm. Tyrannical coercion immediately pressed down on Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't use all his strength when fighting Gong Shaoqing, but he wanted a crushing victory to break Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. After reaching the innate realm, when there is a certain gap between the strength of two cultivators, the coercion of the strong will generate a huge pressure to crush the opponent. Under this coercion, the weaker competitor will also be suppressed and be unable to exert their full combat power. This is the difficulty of leapfrog battles. Ordinary people cannot break through this layer of coercion, and the competitor is eclipsed. Bailey Hongzhuang's speed was also limited. The vitality in her body roared out, and the strength of the third level of the Red Realm was revealed. Everyone was a little surprised when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had reached the third level of the Red Realm at this young age. She deserves the title of genius. If Bailey Hongzhuang was the same age as Nangong Aochen, her strength would not be weaker than Nangong Aochen. You can only blame Bailey Hongzhuang for being born later. Facing the coercion of Nangong Aochen, Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that a huge boulder was pressing on her body, somewhat impacting her combat power. Nangong Aochen looked indifferent. This is the difference between the weak and the strong. There is almost no need to do anything, the weak is already at an impasse. After seeing the Nangong Aochen's arrogance and complacency, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly parted into a mocking smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved, and a touch of jade color quietly appeared on her arms, radiant and tough. The next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang slammed her right fist towards the coercive pressure. Boom! A dull sound came out, and Nangong Aochen's expression changed instantly. Crackle, there was a slight cracking sound, and then the coercion dissipated like a broken mirror. When they saw this scene, there was a touch of amazement in everyone's eyes. Nangong Aochen's coercion was broken so easily by Bailey Hongzhuang. This kind of thing is useless against me, Bailey Hongzhuang said indifferently. The strength difference between her and Nangong Aochen was only 2 ranks. This level of coercion would absolutely not suppress her. Nangong Aochen was also a little surprised that just one punch had shattered the coercion. It was clear that the strength of Bailey Hongzhuang's fist was amazing. At the same time, a touch of interest quietly appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes. Among the younger generation of cultivators, he rarely encountered such an interesting person. Immediately after, Nangong Aochen moved, turning into a ray of yellow light sweeping towards Bailey Hongzhuang. The distance between the two of them closed instantly. Nangong Aochen turned his right palm into a fist, and without hesitation struck at Bailey Hongzhuang's neck. The huge fist was wrapped in a fierce wind and enlarged rapidly in Bailey Hongzhuang's view, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't panic. She did not have the slightest intention of avoiding it. She coincidentally wanted to also know how strong she really is now. Just when the fist was about to reach Bailey Hongzhuang, she moved. A slim white fist greeted Nangong Aochen fearlessly, actually wanting to go head-to-head. Seeing this scene, almost everyone already foresaw the fate of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 852, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Body Training Martial Arts. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too nonchalant. Does she think that eldest brother's 2 extra levels of strength are just for show? The corners of Nangong Yuer's mouth curled in mockery, but the smile in her eyes gradually deepened. Bailey Hongzhuang's hand was broken. This was also good news. People who come from small places are always a little ignorant. They really think that their strength is great. Nangong Yujin said languidly. Boom! 2 fists, one big and one small, collided loudly under the crowd's astonished gaze. The scenario of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken that people expected didn't materialize. Nangong Aochen was surprised by the huge power coming from her fist. He did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang's strength to be so strong. I underestimated you, Nangong Aochen said slowly. He originally wanted to overwhelmingly defeat Bailey Hongzhuang, but now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength would not be so easy to solve. The children of the royal family are always so arrogant. Bailey Hongzhuang was not polite at all when she spoke. Since it was already an antagonistic situation, she would not respect her opponent. Nangong Aochen's face turned cold, a hint of sullen anger flashed in his eyes, his body moved, and he attacked like a storm. Bang bang bang! Bailey Hongzhuang didn't give in at all. Her figure waged war with Nangong Aochen, the fierce attacks continued to erupt and the two intertwined together like whirlwinds. The fierce energy also burst out sonic explosions. As the hits continued, Nangong Aochen's surprise increased. Usually, female practitioners are very weak in melee combat, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't seem to be affected in any way, and her melee combat ability was very good. What he couldn't understand was that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base was clearly 2 levels weaker than his, so why didn't he feel Bailey Hongzhuang's weakness at all as they fought? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has cultivated body training martial arts? Nangong Aochen was a little puzzled. Although body training martial arts are not uncommon, good body training martial arts are rare. Bailey Hongzhuang can even fight against 2 levels of combat power disadvantage, which shows that Bailey Hongzhuang's martial arts level is high. It seems that the reputation of first place in each academy is not without merit. He can't underestimate the enemy. Swish! The two figures shot apart. Bailey Hongzhuang took a few steps back, releasing the energy in her body. Nangong Aochen's strength was, as everyone said, it not blown out of proportion. Even using the Jade body training skill, her strength was still somewhat lacking. The gap in strength between the two was not small. Under the sleeve of her robe, Bailey Hongzhuang's fist filled with red blood, and she trembled faintly. She was unavoidably injured in the last collision. However, the crowd was extremely horrified after seeing this scene. Nangong Yujin had a look of incredulity on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation level is clearly 2 levels lower than Nangong Aochen's. How can she persist under such a storm of attacks? How strong is Nangong Aochen? No one with weaker strength has ever been able to last against Nangong Aochen for so long. This is too bizarre. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others were full of excitement. Hongzhuang is really great. Even with Bailey Hongzhuang on stage, they never had any hope, because the gap between the 2 levels was huge. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance really amazed them. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 853, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Appearance, by Shi. Since it's already a match to the death, let's get it over with. The coldness in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes gradually deepened. She already had a certain understanding of Nangong Aochen's strength from this initial confrontation. Although her cultivation was not as good as Nangong Aochen's, she is not without the strength to fight. The word concede has never been in her dictionary. She will never know the final result without fighting for her life. Nangong Aochen's handsome eyes narrowed slightly. That Bailey Hongzhuang could still say such words in this situation meant that Bailey Hongzhuang was planning to go all out. Since you are so eager to die, I will help you out. Nangong Aochen's voice was also full of chill. He couldn't continue to let Bailey Hongzhuang go on. What he wanted was a crushing victory so that everyone could see that the majesty of the royal family could not be trampled upon. On the other side, Bai Shi turned his head to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang nod, Bai Shi's gaze fell on the opposite flame lion. A trace of fear flashed in the eyes of the majestic flame lion after seeing the white lion. His sturdy figure also began to tremble. Seeing this, everyone looked astonished. Why does it seem that the flame lion is afraid of that little white beast? What kind of little white beast is that? Why have I never seen one before? Everyone was puzzled. Although there are many types of beasts, the people present did not lack in experience. They are even familiar with ornamental beasts, but they had never seen a beast like Bai Shi. You think too much. How could the flame lion be afraid of such a small beast? Other people also disagreed. The flame lion is very rare among contract beasts. How could the contracted beast of a student from the backcountry Kanglan Academy be better than His Royal Highness? Old Huan, what kind of contract beast is this? Jian Qingqiu is not a stupid person. The concept of hierarchy among beasts is stricter than that of humans. Only when low-level beasts meet high-level beasts would there be such a reaction. In the past, they only regarded Bailey Hongzhuang's monster beast as a pet, but now it seems that this white lion is obviously not just ornamental. Huan Chuyu was also a little surprised. In fact, he had never paid attention to the white lion. This I have never thought about either, Huan Chuyu said slowly. However, Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi obviously didn't believe Huan Chuyu, and thought that Huan Chuyu was trying to purposefully show off. Regardless of the strength of this beast, Bailey Hongzhuang will not be able to beat Nangong Aochen. Sang Hongxi did not have any positive feelings for Huan Chuyu. 1. Yesterday, Huan Chuyu revealed Wei Hunyuan's identity in front of everyone, which humiliated him. Now he only hopes that Kanglan Academy will return in defeat and come in last place. Huan Chuyu glanced at Sang Hongxi indifferently. At least my students from Kanglan Academy still have the courage to fight, unlike yours that don't even have the courage to fight. Seeing Huan Chuyu's words become more and more rude, Sang Hongxi also snorted coldly. You'd better pray that the good seedlings of your Kanglan Academy don't die on this competition stage. You! Huan Chuyu was furious, but Sang Hongxi had already looked away. This old guy was going too far. However, Sang Hongxi's words reminded Huan Chuyu that he must pay constant attention to the situation on the stage, and not allow Bailey Hongzhuang's life to be in danger. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Almost everyone was laughing. This was just too humiliating. Xia Jiqing and the others were also stunned. Although Bailey Hongzhuang normally always hugged the white lion, they had never seen the white lion fight. Thinking of the tyrannical strength of the flame lion, the white lion might die immediately on this competition arena. They didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang would do this. Only Amo Yunjue in the stands had a glint of understanding in his eyes. The power inside this little guy is beyond everyone's comprehension. You're quite enlightened. Nangong Aochen also had a touch of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't know whether it was self-confidence or ignorance, but she still didn't show any panic before death. Bailey Hongzhuang coldly glanced at Nangong Aochen, her red lips parting slightly. You lack enlightenment. TL/N1 is literally, he started pretending to breathe heavily as soon as he's called fat. To another idiom literally, you do the first day of the month, I'll do the 15th. This kind of thing is useless against me. Nangong Aochen let out a cold snort and stepped forward with the sole of his foot. The energy in his dantian burst out, and a tyrannical pressure spread instantly. The 5th level of the Red Realm. Tyrannical coercion immediately pressed down on Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't use all his strength when fighting Gong Shaoqing, but he wanted a crushing victory to break Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. After reaching the innate realm, when there is a certain gap between the strength of two cultivators, the coercion of the strong will generate a huge pressure to crush the opponent. Under this coercion, the weaker competitor will also be suppressed and be unable to exert their full combat power. This is the difficulty of leapfrog battles. Ordinary people cannot break through this layer of coercion, and the competitor is eclipsed. Bailey Hongzhuang's speed was also limited. The vitality in her body roared out, and the strength of the 3rd level of the Red Realm was revealed. Everyone was a little surprised when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had reached the 3rd level of the Red Realm at this young age. She deserves the title of genius. If Bailey Hongzhuang was the same age as Nangong Aochen, her strength would not be weaker than Nangong Aochen. You can only blame Bailey Hongzhuang for being born later. Facing the coercion of Nangong Aochen, Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that a huge boulder was pressing on her body, somewhat impacting her combat power. Nangong Aochen looked indifferent. This is the difference between the weak and the strong. There is almost no need to do anything, the weak is already at an impasse. After seeing the Nangong Aochen's arrogance and complacency, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly parted into a mocking smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved, and a touch of jade color quietly appeared on her arms, radiant and tough. The next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang slammed her right fist towards the coercive pressure. Boom! A dull sound came out, and Nangong Aochen's expression changed instantly. Crackle, there was a slight cracking sound, and then the coercion dissipated like a broken mirror. When they saw this scene, there was a touch of amazement in everyone's eyes. Nangong Aochen's coercion was broken so easily by Bailey Hongzhuang. This kind of thing is useless against me, Bailey Hongzhuang said indifferently. The strength difference between her and Nangong Aochen was only 2 ranks. This level of coercion would absolutely not suppress her. Nangong Aochen was also a little surprised that just one punch had shattered the coercion. It was clear that the strength of Bailey Hongzhuang's fist was amazing. At the same time, a touch of interest quietly appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes. Among the younger generation of cultivators, he rarely encountered such an interesting person. Immediately after, Nangong Aochen moved, turning into a ray of yellow light sweeping towards Bailey Hongzhuang. The distance between the two of them closed instantly. Nangong Aochen turned his right palm into a fist, and without hesitation struck at Bailey Hongzhuang's neck. The huge fist was wrapped in a fierce wind and enlarged rapidly in Bailey Hongzhuang's view, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't panic. She did not have the slightest intention of avoiding it. She coincidentally wanted to also know how strong she really is now. Just when the fist was about to reach Bailey Hongzhuang, she moved. A slim white fist greeted Nangong Aochen fearlessly, actually wanting to go head-to-head. Seeing this scene, almost everyone already foresaw the fate of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken. Body training martial arts, this Bailey Hongzhuang is too nonchalant. Does she think that eldest brother's 2 extra levels of strength are just for show? The corners of Nangong Yuer's mouth curled in mockery, but the smile in her eyes gradually deepened. Bailey Hongzhuang's hand was broken. This was also good news. People who come from small places are always a little ignorant. They really think that their strength is great. Nangong Yujin said languidly. Boom! 2 fists, one big and one small, collided loudly under the crowd's astonished gaze. The scenario of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken that people expected didn't materialize. Nangong Aochen was surprised by the huge power coming from her fist. He did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang's strength to be so strong. I underestimated you, Nangong Aochen said slowly. He originally wanted to overwhelmingly defeat Bailey Hongzhuang, but now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength would not be so easy to solve. The children of the royal family are always so arrogant. Bailey Hongzhuang was not polite at all when she spoke. Since it was already an antagonistic situation, she would not respect her opponent. Nangong Aochen's face turned cold, a hint of sullen anger flashed in his eyes, his body moved, and he attacked like a storm. Bang bang bang! Bailey Hongzhuang didn't give in at all. Her figure waged war with Nangong Aochen, the fierce attacks continued to erupt and the two intertwined together like whirlwinds. The fierce energy also burst out sonic explosions. As the hits continued, Nangong Aochen's surprise increased. Usually, female practitioners are very weak in melee combat, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't seem to be affected in any way, and her melee combat ability was very good. What he couldn't understand was that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base was clearly 2 levels weaker than his, so why didn't he feel Bailey Hongzhuang's weakness at all as they fought? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has cultivated body training martial arts? Nangong Aochen was a little puzzled. Although body training martial arts are not uncommon, good body training martial arts are rare. Bailey Hongzhuang can even fight against 2 levels of combat power disadvantage, which shows that Bailey Hongzhuang's martial arts level is high. It seems that the reputation of first place in each academy is not without merit. He can't underestimate the enemy. Swish! The two figures shot apart. Bailey Hongzhuang took a few steps back, releasing the energy in her body. Nangong Aochen's strength was, as everyone said, it not blown out of proportion. Even using the Jade Body training skill, her strength was still somewhat lacking. The gap in strength between the two was not small. Under the sleeve of her robe, Bailey Hongzhuang's fist filled with red blood, and she trembled faintly. She was unavoidably injured in the last collision. However, the crowd was extremely horrified after seeing this scene. Nangong Yujin had a look of incredulity on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation level is clearly 2 levels lower than Nangong Aochen's. How can she persist under such a storm of attacks? How strong is Nangong Aochen? No one with weaker strength has ever been able to last against Nangong Aochen for so long. This is too bizarre. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others were full of excitement. Hongzhuang is really great. Even with Bailey Hongzhuang on stage, they never had any hope, because the gap between the two levels was huge. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance really amazed them. You're tuning into the Passion Page's YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.